Hi, everybody. Today we're going to talk about validation of quality system software. And a question from one of our employees that they thought would be great to ask because we see this from other customers all the time. Do we have to validate something simple and silly like Microsoft Word? So, if you have any kind of familiarity with the quality system requirements in ISO 1345 clause 4.1.6, it says you have to validate software that affects the quality system. So quality system software has to be validated. But what is quality system software? They don't define that. They do say that it would be any software that could affect the quality of your product or affect the quality system itself. So if you have it for record keeping, if you're using software for record keeping, that's going to affect the quality system. If you have software to keep track of your lots, that automatically assigning lot numbers, that would be qualified. If you keep track of where you ship things, and that's your distribution records, in case you had to do a recall, a lot of accounting software is what people use, that's going to count. So a lot of software that you may say, well, that's financial, it doesn't count. Well, if that's where all your distribution records is, now it counts. Not the whole entire software, but the part that affects quality. So a lot of times what we're doing is we're going through all the software that you have, making a list of it, and then going step by step and say, what functions do we rely on in this software that might be part of the quality system? So if it's tracking lot numbers, tracking shipping locations for distribution, if it's tracking training records, validation, equipment maintenance, calibration, those are all things that would be covered under that clause 4.16. And they have a second place, clause 7.6 for calibration specifically, because Gage Track is an example of software that just handles calibration records. And then you also have automated equipment that you're going to have to validate. So you have any automated equipment in your facility, molding presses, things like that. Any automation is going to have to be validated. If you have automatic temperature storage in your warehouse, so most people have air-conditioned buildings. Well, if you have a device that is sensitive to temperature and has a defined storage range, you're going to have to manage that software. So a lot of times all we want to do is say, we're going to log it. So we have calibration of the data loggers, and we're going to download that manually and do a data analysis. But as soon as you start automating those things and have a building monitoring system, now you have software you have to validate. So that's what we're talking about. But to get back to the original question, something silly like Microsoft Word. Well, Microsoft Word is only used for writing documents, but there's a whole lot of documents out there. What about a validation report? Well, if you're just using the Microsoft Word to write the validation report, then no. But if you've created a template and you've locked that template and secured it, and you have special themes and special formatting that automatically occurs, there might be some very limited validation that you have to do to make sure that that template works the way it's supposed to and automatically does things. It's not likely for Microsoft Word. I haven't actually seen a case, but I can envision a case where it would happen, where you have automatic reports and you have some sort of function in there that's automatic, some sort of scripting that you've done. But much more likely is that you have an Excel spreadsheet. And that's actually an example that's provided in ISO TIR 80002-2, and it's a 2017 standard. And I will put a link down below where you can buy it. So look in the description for this YouTube video. ISO TIR 8000, so that's 3 zeros, 2-2, and it's a 2017 version. And it tells you how to validate medical device software. And just going off of memory, I think it's 96 pages long, much shorter than the GAMP 5 guidance document for pharma. Pharma, they do a lot more rigorous validation, and variability is much more common. So looking at lot-to-lot variability and looking at automation systems, because they have automated mixing, automatic sterilization, automatic purification, automatic line filling. They have high-risk devices, so they have to have more validation. So that's why GAMP 5 exists. But they wanted to create a simpler system that was risk-based. So they did that. They created ISO TIR, which means it's a guidance or technical report, 80002-2, and it's a 2017 version. And in the back of that, it actually gives you examples, and one of them is how to validate an Excel spreadsheet. So you should be using that as your preferred best practice on how to validate quality system software. And if you have a spreadsheet, Microsoft Excel, or some other spreadsheet, even Google Drive, you're using like a Google Sheet, you can still validate those, but you have to follow that guidance document if you want to do that right and learn how to do it. We do have a procedure for it. I'll put a link down below for the procedure as well. It's SYS 051. So our procedure for validating software tools, we call it. And that is another way that they describe it. Software for the quality system or software tools. If you're doing automatic measuring of something, a lot of times when we're measuring a catheter or something, a balloon, and we want to do some analysis of that, those might be automated inspection tools. If you're validating a laser system, some of those are going to be under 7.5.6, where it's process validation, and some of it's going to be under 4.1.6, where it's quality system software. And sometimes the line gets really blurred. So if you've got something that's automated equipment involved in production, that's more 756, and you want to be looking at 21 CFR 820.75 for the FDA requirements, but they mirror very closely with what's required in ISO for clause 756. If you've got automatic sealers, that would be under 757 for the sterile barrier and the sterilization process, but the actual sealer itself would be under 756. You've got calibration of those devices, so that's 7.6. But for the specific software affecting the quality system, that's going to be clause 4.1.6. And the chances of you having to audit or validate Microsoft Word are slim to none. But the chances of you putting some automated calculations that, like, if we type in this data, it will automatically calculate how much I'm supposed to do, giving you automated inspection pass fail. Like, you put in the numbers and it automatically knows whether it's a pass fail, and it changes it green or red. Those are great functions to add into inspection forms. But when you do that, you have to validate it. And it doesn't take very long, and you only have to create the template for the validation of it once, and then you just fill in the same template over and over again every time you validate a spreadsheet. So make it a protocol that's more fill in the blank rather than something that's has no blanks at all and would be the absolute protocol, because then you have to keep on rewriting the protocol. Much better to use something that's more fill in the blank kind of style protocol for Excel spreadsheets. So yes, the answer is yes, you have to validate any software that's going to affect the quality system, but how to decide what software is affecting the quality system, what stuff is not. You're supposed to use a risk-based approach, document the risk. And where would you document that? In a quality plan. You'd have a master validation plan where you would identify all the software in your system, use a risk-based approach to decide what is the priority for validating, and then you'd write validation protocols for each of the software you're going to validate, and then execute them based on the priorities in your master validation plan. And if that was really fast, yes, I'm sure it was. When I get to the actual recording a webinar for SYS 51, I'll put more detail in there and I'll walk you through our form. It will be sometime this year. I don't know exactly when. Chances are it'll be in the fourth quarter, because I'm sort of going from number 1 to number 52 or 53. And right now I'm somewhere around like 10. So it's going to take me a little while, but we're doing one a week for procedures webinars. So somewhere in the fourth quarter, we'll be covering that one. And if you put a comment down below here and say, please do this one sooner, I'd be happy to move it up in my priorities because you put a comment down below. If you found this helpful to you for your own quality system needs, or you have suggestions for, hey, you should watch this video, please share it with others or write in some comments for what I can do next week. Have a great week, and thank you, and have a great weekend too. Bye-bye.